Trig 8.6, we're back to dealing with two keywords and still meaning to multiply or still meaning to add. But what they're going to give you is events that are called independent events, meaning one doesn't really have to do with the other one. And they'll ask you, or they'll tell you, the chance of one event happening is this, the chance of the other event happening is that. What's the chance you get one and the other? And you'll look to take numbers they gave you and multiply. Or if they give you independent events and they ask you the chance of one or the other, you can take the probabilities they fed you and just add them. Or they might tell you what the chance is that something happened and ask you to figure out the chance it does not happen, in which case you'll go 1 minus whatever they told you. And they also give you a cheat for a way to figure out if you had at least one of something. At least one means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to forever. At least one means one and up, as far as you could go. If you want to figure out a way to do at least one of something, you can do 1 minus the chance of none, because those are opposites. If I told you you don't have at least one, that means you have none. Okay, so we can go 1 minus a none to do an at least one. That'll seem hazy until you see a story and do some math. So making my step to the right, I'm working in the book from page 253. There's an example at the bottom corner of 253 with Calvin and Phoebe. It seems possible that Calvin has a love interest, because you may have noticed, or maybe not, back on page 245, Calvin and Phoebe were standing next to each other in line. And I had a class one year suggested to me that perhaps they were a romantic interest. That Calvin may have put away his almanac and given up on his flagpole measurements, and he may be in pursuit of Phoebe. We're not sure. But that has been suggested by past people. But we're back, Calvin and Phoebe are back together in this story again, so I'm not sure if there's something going on maybe with Calvin and Phoebe. On this page, they're telling you the chance of Calvin getting sick is 0.13. They're asking you the chance, they're telling you the chance that Phoebe getting sick is a 0.07. And then they're going to ask a series of questions based off of those two probabilities. Chance of Calvin sick is 0.13. Chance of Phoebe sick is 0.07. The question one they ask, what's the chance they both get sick? In some of these, like the previous lesson, you might want to just write out an English kind of choice to explain what does that mean that they're both sick. That means that Calvin is sick, and it means that Phoebe is sick. For them both to be sick, Calvin's sick and Phoebe's sick. That's what that means. And means to multiply. The Calvin sick choice was given to you when they told you up here this 0.13. Phoebe's sick was given to you right up here with the 0.07. You multiply that up and it'll be an 0091. Choice B, they want to know what's the chance Calvin's not sick. Well, I'll go back up here. If the chance that he is sick is a 0.13, 13%, the chance he's not sick would be the other 87%, 0.87. I'm using the 1 minus rule from my left. If they give you the chance that something is happening, 1 minus that tells you the chance that it's not happening. So if he had a 0.13 chance that he was sick, 1 minus that, he has a 0.87, Sidney Crosby, chance of not being sick. In C, they want to have Phoebe not be sick. So you could do the same thing. If it's 0.07, she is sick, 1 minus that is 0.93, that she's not sick. Then they move on to D. D, they want Calvin and Phoebe not sick. So maybe we could do some English here. Calvin is not sick, and Phoebe is not sick. sick. For neither one to be sick, Calvin's not and Phoebe's not. So and means to multiply, as always. A not sick Calvin was this 0.87. A not sick Phoebe is a 0.93. You multiply the 87 and the 93, and it's going to give you an 8091. Last choice, they want to know what's the chance at least one of these people is sick. So we could go English. We could go Calvin is sick and Phoebe not. That's one way we could get at least one sick person. Or we could do Phoebe sick and Calvin not. That still has at least one sick person. Or we could do Calvin sick and at the same time Phoebe could be sick too. For us to have at least one sick person, it could be Calvin, or it could be Phoebe, or it could be both. So I could go through here. Ands mean multiply, ors mean adds. So we could go, a sick Calvin is the 13, but Phoebe being healthy, that is a 93. We could instead do Phoebe being sick, that's the 07, while Calvin stays healthy, that's the 87. Or they could both be sick at the same time, which is the 13 and the 07. We could add that all up and get 1909. That's a long road. That's not the way you have to do it, but that's correct. You could choice by choice it with lots of English, ands, ors, all that kind of stuff. Alternative plan is to use this idea, instead of at least one going case by case by case and adding it all up, at least one is the opposite of none. And you could do 1 minus the nobody answer. So on this problem, we have here the answer for nobody being sick. If you go 1 minus nobody sick, that gives you the answer for somebody being sick. So anytime you want to do at least one, you have those choices. You can either add up all the scenarios, this one's sick, that one's sick, both of them sick. Or you could instead shortcut it and figure out what's the chance that nobody had the issue and go 1 minus that. That's probably quicker. The at least one trick is probably a better way to go. The homework is all pretty similar here. 254. What they have is like, instead of Calvin and Phoebe being sick, there's stories like flat tire, chance is this, engine trouble is that. Or you go to the restaurant, you could have ham or you could have eggs, or both, or neither. There's stuff, just they do different sort of scenarios. The homework goes to 16. They start to get a little bit creative around like 11-ish maybe. But there's one thing they will do in some of the later questions where they might say, what's the chance that Calvin got sick twice? Well, you could go 0.13 times 0.13 again. Or what's the chance Calvin gets sick 3 times? What's the chance Calvin gets sick 4 times? If they ask you what's the chance Calvin got sick 100 times, stuff like that. They start to do some little twists a little bit later. But if you have questions, email me or jump in on one of the Zoom sessions. See you later.